That's the expectation, at least, based on some remote sensing data from orbit, is the region where Chang'e 5 landed is covered in rocks that are younger, maybe 1 to 2 billion years old. That's still very old, but younger geologically speaking than the rocks that the Apollo moon missions brought back, which were more in the order of 3 to 3.5 billion years old. So there's evidence from data going into this mission that the region where this mission landed has some different types of rocks than, different ages of rocks than the Apollo moon samples.
If you had to guess, what is exactly the size of these moon rocks? Is it something we can hold in our hand? Is it the size of an orange? Like, give us some, give us your take on what they look like.
Well, it's hard to know for sure. I think that's everybody's on the edge of their seat waiting to see what the samples look like when they get back to Earth. The mission, the plan going into the mission was to collect up to a little over 2 pounds or a little over 4 kilograms of material. The mission drilled into the subsurface of the moon up to a few feet or a couple of meters into the moon, and brought out samples from the underground. And there was also a robot arm on the lander that scooped up some loose soil on the surface. So I'm expecting to see maybe some hardened rock from underneath the surface and maybe some more fine-grained material that was scooped off the surface. But part of the reason for doing the mission is no one knows for sure. They'll find out when it gets back.
And I also thought it was interesting that this lander touched down on a volcanic plain on the moon's near side to gather these samples. Why this specific area?
Well, like I was saying, one of the reasons for this specific area from a scientific perspective is there's evidence that there was volcanic activity in this region much more recently, 1 to 2 billion years ago, perhaps. So it's an area to be able to sample a different type of rock than the Apollo moon missions brought back.
And overall, why would you say this is such a huge accomplishment for China?
Well, technologically speaking, this is a big step forward for China. China has landed 3 missions on the moon, but this is the first time China has performed a round-trip mission to the moon's surface and back to Earth. So the hardest part of the mission, at least the unproven part of the mission, was being able to collect the samples to take off from the moon's surface, and then coming up in the next couple of days to be able to rendezvous with the orbiter to bring it back to Earth. Hasn't been done by China before either. And China, if successful, China will be only the 3rd nation to pull off this feat of lunar sample return mission, and the 1st in 44 years.